Hello, coming up today, how to learn a song. If you're like me, an amateur musician, you might find it quite hard to find the time to do your preparation and your rehearsal for your band, for your performance, for your acoustic duo, building your repertoire, learning your set list. You've probably got quite a few commitments with your professional work or your families and your domestic routines. So today I'm going to talk through my process that I use for learning a song. It's a structured process and it helps to get the information into your brain such that you can truly understand that song and then reproduce it in a live performance or with a band rehearsal and so on. So if that's going to be of interest, then you're going to want to watch this video today. But first, I was inspired to do this video after I recently saw Rick Beato's video on how to learn a song. Now, I'm a big fan of Rick. I recently went to see him at a live show in Berlin in late 2023, which was really good. And in fact, that show inspired me to start my own YouTube channel. So when I watched Rick's video the other day on how to learn a song, I thought this is going to be really interesting because it's going to really apply to me. I've got quite a lot of stuff that I need to learn at the moment for a band that I'm just starting up in. However, to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed. All Rick really talked about was, or his main emphasis was using ear training to learn parts of a song, licks, riffs, and so on. He didn't really expand on the wider process for learning a whole song, how to memorize it, how to understand the structure of a song, and so on. For me, that's really important. I spent a lot of time, many years, learning parts of a song, learning licks, learning riffs, but I never really truly learned the whole song, which meant I didn't really build my repertoire. I just had a collection of sort of little snippets of songs which weren't particularly useful. So today, without further ado, let's talk through that process that I use. So the first thing that you need to do before we go too far is work out your objective. What are you actually arranging for? Is this going to be an acoustic guitar song where it's just you strumming it, or is it going to be a guitar part in a band with other musicians? The way you arrange the song and the way you learn the song is going to be quite different depending on the scenario. So have a good idea of what you're going to be doing. And also you are allowed to rearrange the song, okay? So think about how you want to do it. Put your style on it. Don't shy away from the challenging and more difficult bits, but on the other hand, if a guitar solo is not going to work in an acoustic version, then do something else. Come up with another idea. Listen to the original song or the song that you're going to use as a reference. It might be a live version. In fact, I recommend working to live versions because the live version of a song, i.e. from the original performer, that probably gives you a good clue as to what's actually practical for playing in a live environment. By using the studio version, you might find that there are parts in that studio song which have been added on as layers and overdubs and effects, which are very difficult to reproduce in a live environment. So listen to a live version and perhaps use that as your reference. If it's not at 440 Hertz, then unlike Rick, who would suggest tuning your guitar to the song reference, I would use some software and retune the original to 440 Hertz. And I've got a good reason for that at the end. Okay, next up is work out the basic key of the song and look at and work out the chords as well. I'm not fussed at all about sort of doing all this by ear. If I can work the chords out by ear myself, then great. If I can't, then I'll go online and I'll find a chord sheet and I'll cheat a little bit basically. But I do then strongly suggest that you write out your own chord sheet. You want to have an understanding of the song and the whole song structure, bar by bar or measure by measure, in a written format that gives you a good indication of the timing and the structure of the song. The problem with a lot of chord sheets off the internet is they don't actually give you a breakdown of the structure. It's just letters, A, B, C, D, whatever, written above the text. That's not enough information there. So write out your chord sheet. For me, sometimes that takes me a good 2 or 3 hours. So take some time to do that. You then might find that process actually throws up a few surprises. For example, you might see that actually there's an alternative ending on a chorus, which you'd never really noticed before. You might notice that there's the odd extra bar in there that you didn't really know was there. You just played along with it and never really noticed it. Or you might even have half measures and so on. So writing out the structure is a really good thing to do to give you a really good understanding of the song. Okay, so now I've got my structure, I've got my chord sheet, I've got a good understanding of how that song is built. Even if I'm ultimately going to be playing solos and more technical pieces, I would still have a chord chart as my basic reference. But at this stage, now that I've got my chord chart, I want to start looking at the more intricate, more detailed parts, the solos, the lead lines, the riffs, the little licks, the little rhythmic parts, whatever it is, anything that gives the song its a particular character. If your audience is going to be expecting those parts in the song, then you need to pull those into the song if you can. And this now is where you need to go and listen to Rick's video about ear training and how to work all those bits and pieces out, because obviously he's going to cover that a lot better than me. What I would advise though is once you've started understanding those parts and being able to play them, write them down, put them into tab form if that's what you want to do, but record them in some way so that you can then use them as a reference in the future. I use Guitar Pro if I'm tabbing out a whole song or perhaps a whole solo, but I also sometimes just write some short handwritten tab notes if it's just a couple of bars for a little lead line or a little walk up line or whatever it might be. I would just write some little notes and cross-reference them to the particular measure or bar on my chord sheet. Now is the time to start thinking about practicing. Play along slowly. You've got your chord chart, you've tabbed out the parts. You should now have a good understanding of the structure of the song and a good understanding of perhaps how you're going to start performing this live. So start playing along with your reference track. But crucially at this stage, start vocalizing to yourself or describing to yourself as you play them, or perhaps just before you play them, the different sections of the song. So it might be, okay, I've got an 8-bar intro holding a G chord or a certain riff or whatever it is. And then I know that there's one verse before it goes into a 4-bar bridge and then into the chorus. You should have a good understanding of how the structure is in your head. And by this stage, you're not just playing by ear, you're actually playing by being able to recall the information, a descriptive information in your mind of how that song is constructed. And I tell you, that will be really invaluable when it comes to band practices, especially early on in a rehearsal when the band is perhaps just first starting to do a song. Other people might be confused as well. If you can be the linchpin who can perhaps hold things together and say, no, this is the structure, these are the chords, this is how long this section is, then that will really, really help. If I could just interrupt for one brief moment and ask a favour, please. I would really like it if you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. More subscribers means that I can do more with the channel, and it also opens up new features within YouTube, which I'd really like. Secondly, these videos are even better when people comment and add their ideas and their tips. So feel free to comment below. Let us know what your thoughts are on this video. If you've got things that I've not thought of or other ideas, then put them in, make it a discussion, make it a conversation. Definitely better that way. Okay, thanks very much. Okay, now let's start thinking about some more advanced techniques. So that reference file that we talked about earlier, hopefully you've retuned it to 440 Hertz. I would now use some software such as Moises AI or Leilal AI, which is track isolation software. And what that enables you to do is to isolate the guitar or any instrument out of your track. Now, the great thing about this is you can isolate out and take out the guitar, and now you've got a track where you can play along to the drums, bass and vocals, for example, with your guitar playing, which is really quite a nice way of practicing. But you can even then take it a stage further as well. Why not take out the vocal so that you've got no vocal cues and see if you can play along to the bass and drums all the way through? Now you're really stripping things down, and understanding and learning that structure really has to come from your mind and your ability to learn that song, as opposed to just knowing that the chorus is coming because the vocalist is kind of working up to it. Okay, so that's a really good advanced technique. These reference tracks that you're building, if you've got several of them, why not now build them together into a playlist of practice tracks? And this is why I think it's really important to retune to 440. If you've got a set of practice tracks and you're playing along to them, you don't want to keep retuning your guitar. You want to have your guitar in tune, and then you can just go through your practice tracks with whatever system you're going to use. I use one of those little Fender Mustang, tiny little Mustang things, which I plug into my guitar, headphones on, and then I play my my practice tracks through my phone. And I can do that anywhere. Actually, I can just find a quiet corner at work on my lunch break and go and practice my songs. So a really good tip there. If you want to know more about learning songs and building repertoire, then watch this video here. Okay, thanks very much. See you next time.